What's up guys, Cocojobro here. I'm a DBD streamer with over 4,000 hours in the game, and in today's video, we are going to be going over a killer guide on the new killer, the Addons. If you guys haven't met this killer, she is a reconnaissance killer which is able to use crows in order to seek out the survivors and end chases very quickly. She is a force to be reckoned with, and if you are looking in order to build your gameplay up and get better at this killer, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell to know when we post future content. We are going to be posting so many builds that it's going to definitely improve your gameplay, whether you are an advanced killer or even a baby killer picking up this for the first time. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, the new killer, her name is Carmina Mora. She is from Chile, and she uses a power called the Birds of Torment. Now, she sends a special attack of crows to damage survivors, and she has a natural terror radius of 32 meters and a natural speed of 115%. She also walks at a average height as well, so she's pretty much easy to see, but also too, she's not as tall like Doctor or Huntress. Now, this killer comes with 3 unique perks, and we'll see it right here on the screen. The first one is going to be Grim Embrace. Now, Grim Embrace is a perk where once you hook a survivor, you get a token, and once you hook 4 unique survivors, you'll be able to lock down all the gens for a whopping 40 seconds. This is a really strong perk if you are getting gen rushed, or if you want to stop gens from being repaired, so you can lock down a nice 3 gen at the end game, or if you just need time to catch up and get some hooks. This is a really solid perk, and we're going to be showing you some builds with this perk in just a little bit. Now, her second perk is my absolute favorite, and this is the Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. Now, whenever you hook a survivor on one of the 4 white hooks on the map, you're able to take off a 15% progression on the gens, and they start progressing too as well. This is amazing because you can pretty much stop a gen from across the map from being done. You know if survivors are on that gen because they'll scream, and if you go over there and use Pop Goes the Weasel, you can get another 25% off, giving you 40% off of a gen, and that's 32 seconds if that survivor is doing that gen solo. If not, you're still getting 12 seconds of repair time off of a gen, and there is no cooldown to this perk, so if you're constantly throwing people on the same hook, it's pretty much usable until that person is sacrificed. Then that hook gets taken out of the game. Now, with that, we're going to be showing you the last perk, which is Hex Pentimento. This is a very complex perk that I don't think we'll see a lot of gameplay because the conditions are very strict. One, you need survivors to not boon your totems, but they actually need to cleanse them. Now, if you're able to go back to where they cleanse your totem, you'll be able to rekindle that totem into a hex totem. If you have 1 totem on the field, there is a 30% penalty for repairing gens. If you get 2, it's a 30% penalty on healing. If you get 3, it's a 30% penalty on survivors recovering from the dying state, and if you get 4, it's a 30% penalty on opening up the exit doors. Now, the really crazy part is, if for some miracle you're able to get all 5 totems rekindled without a single survivor cleansing that totem again, then all of those totems will be locked down and no one can cleanse them. So that's a really cool deal that you have there, but personally, I don't think that it's going to be very effective in the game. Now, let's go over the killer's power. The killer's power is called Birds of Torment. Now, this is a power that essentially summons crows and allows you to send them in a straight line across the map, seeking out survivors, whether it'll give you a killer instinct notification if you skim by them, or it'll allow you to cause them to be swarmed, and that will give them an aura around the map wherever they are, so you can track them and see if they're standing stationary or if they're moving left or right. It's a really fun mechanic that I absolutely love. Now, if you're able to hit the survivors again with a second crow, then they become injured. Also too, when you summon crows, they hover around, and there'll be a little aura on the ground, an 8-meter aura, and that lets you know if you send crows within that length, then survivors become automatically injured. So it's a very good way to zone survivors out on pallets or on loops, and she's really good. She's like a mix between Trapper, huntress, and maybe the hag, if you will. She's very, very, very dangerous killer, and I'm going to get into some techniques and numbers that will help you guys in terms of ending your chases quicker, or maybe you just playing a little bit more smart. So one of the things that you need to know is that when you summon a crow, she summons it 2 meters in front of her. So make sure to plan out when you're going to summon a crow, that you don't misjudge your area, your depth perception. 2 is that when you are going to shoot a crow, it takes you at least 1 second from when you summon that crow to shoot it out. So make sure that you're trying to time it out. You're not, time it out, and make sure that you're not trying to force a crow to be sent off prematurely. The third thing that I want to go over is that the birds that you summon actually stay idle for 10 seconds. This is really, really strong. It's very, very long when you are looping a survivor, or you're the survivor looping the killer, because if that crow is there, it just becomes such a nuisance. It's just annoying to see that crow is there. Now, something to notice though is that it's different from the PTB, is that what happened was, if a survivor was already swarmed and they ran into an idle crow, they would become injured. The new mechanic now is that there is an 8-second repel timer for survivors to get the crows off of them, and if they run into your crows again, that timer resets. So just be cautious of that. One thing that I did was I made a video where you would put a crow at the bottom of basement and you would put a crow at the top of basement. There is a 0.75 activation timer between a survivor being crowed and having a swarm around them, and then before they can become injured. So you can swarm someone and you have to wait a little less than a second before you can send a crow off to injure them. So make sure to time it out and utilize that to your advantage. The next thing that I want to go over is so when you set off crows, you have like ammunition. You have 3 crows you can set off, and like I said, there's a timer of 10 seconds before another crow can be summoned to keep both of those crows up, and then you have another 10 seconds before you can summon to get a 3rd crow up, and then all 3 crows can stay idle for an additional 10 seconds before they disintegrate. Now the thing is, if you don't send off those crows, you just have to wait 2 seconds for your power to come back before you can summon another crow. But if you send off a crow, then there's going to be some time. You have to wait at least 5 seconds for your crow power to come back. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some numbers on the screen for you guys. But mainly what happens is when you send off a crow, you have to wait 5 seconds before your power comes back. If you send off 2 crows, you have to wait 9 seconds. And if you send off all 3 crows, you have to wait 12 seconds before you can get your power back again. So in my personal opinion, I think it's very, very wise to just send off maybe 1, maybe 2 crows, and also to time out when you're going to get close to a survivor. Maybe you're in the middle of the map and it will probably take you a little bit of time before you'll get to a loop. So maybe, yeah, send off 2 crows. There are add-ons that you can also get 4 or even 5 crows, but that sends up the time to 14 and 15 seconds before you can even use your power again. I personally think that 3 crows is definitely enough, so don't really worry about that and just roll with it. Now, I want to get into some builds with the killer too, and some add-ons that should really help you guys. So the first build that I want to give you is more of a like a pop explosion build, and this is a really crazy build that revolves around her new Scourge hook. So we're going to be using Scourge Hook of Pain. So again, if you hook survivors onto a hook that is a white hook, then it'll take off 15%. And like I mentioned, if you're using Pop Goes the Weasel, this allows you to get a whopping 25% off of a gen if you can get to it and the survivors have touched it. The third perk that I want to use is Surge or Jolt. This was the Demogorgon's perk, and what this does is whenever you down a survivor, all the gens around you in a 32-meter radius explode, and they also take off 8%. So let's say you use Scourge Hook 15, then you use pop 25. If they touch it again and you down someone, you get another 8. Then you're getting 48%, almost 40 seconds off of that gen. It's a really good. And then the last one that I want to use, this one's from Nemesis, and this one's called Eruption. So mainly if you are kicking a gen, then you pretty much kind of set like a landmine on it, or a C4 if you will, and whenever you down the next survivor, that gen that you just kick will explode, taking off 6%. And if there's any survivor on it, they become incapacitated, so they can't do anything besides run around and vault for 16 seconds. So this is a really good synergetic build where you have the Scorch Hook. It lets you know which gen has the most progression. You go over there and you use Pop Goes the Weasel. Now that you've kicked a gen, this also synergizes with Eruption, where Eruption pretty much puts a timer or a stamp on that gen, and then when you use Surge, any gens around you will explode, including the one that you kicked across the map or wherever that you kicked that gen. So it's a really good build. I think you guys will like that. The second build that I want to bring to you guys is more of a lock it down build. So this build pretty much revolves around Grim Embrace. So remember, Grim Embrace is that perk that allows you to lock all the gens down on the entirety of the map for 40 seconds once you hook each unique survivor. So what you can do here is you can hook a survivor, hook another one, and save that last survivor for when you really need them the most. It can really mess with their minds, thinking they're the obsession, things like that, but really you're just saving them for an ace in the hole tactic. Deadlock is a perk where you have 2 gens. If the first one is completed, the second most completed gen will be locked down for 30 seconds. So this helps you to pretty much know, okay, they're contesting for this gen. This is the one that I need to start hovering around, or maybe there's a survivor in the vicinity working on that gen. The third perk that I want to bring to you guys is a Ghostface perk, and this one is called Thrilling Tremors. So Thrilling Tremors, what this does is whenever you knock down a survivor, and once you pick them up, all the gens on the map that are not being worked on will be blocked for 16 seconds. This is really good, so you know which gens are being worked on, so you can go over there and contest those gens. And then the last one that I want to bring to you guys is a Plague perk. It's a personal favorite of mine, which is Corrupt Intervention. And this allows you to block the furthest 3 gens from you at the starting point for a whopping 2 minutes, which allows you to patrol only 4 gens instead of 7 at the beginning of the game. This is a really good perk to allow you to get an advantage in the game, to get a couple of early hooks, and then from there, while survivors are doing their gens, then you can start setting up for Grim Embrace, Deadlock to slow the game down a little bit if they're rushing, and then also 2 Thrilling Tremors to go along with Corrupt Intervention. So you have 3 gens already blocked, you're contesting 4, and if you can get a really good Thrilling Tremors, you can honestly have all of the gens blocked at the beginning of the game. Now, the last thing I want to go really quick is some of her add-ons. Personally, my favorite add-ons is the Severed Hands with the Silver Bow. Now, the Severed Hands, what this does is it allows you to send crows off into the distance, and if you connect with a survivor and they connect with a friend, these crows will start spreading like wildfire, and it'll allow you to get some good across the map shots for some easy skeet shooting. Trust me, I have a really good video on barbecue and chili is OP, and if you watch that video, oh my gosh, you'll see why the Severed Hands is literally my favorite. Now, the Silver Bow, what it does is when someone is infected by your dire crows and they have a swarm on them, they become oblivious. So if you can snipe someone from across the map with your dire crows and they're on a gen, you can sneak up on them from behind a wall. You can kind of be like a wraith or a ghost face, if you will. It's a very good build. Another one that I really like too is the charcoal stick. This allows you to stop the survivors from seeing which direction your crows are going, because as you're shooting off crows, they'll know where you are shooting crows off of. You can also not run this and maybe set up some crows and then go like to a different side of the map and then send off your crows, and then survivors will think like, oh, the killer's at Killer Shack, when really you're on another side of the map. It's a really good tactic that you can use. There's also some other things that you can use. The tongue is not really good. You have the ink egg, which allows you to decrease your idle time by 4 seconds, but now you have 4 crows. There's another add-on, which is this one right here, that increases your idle time by 4 seconds. So you can run the still life crow with the ink egg, and so you'll have 4 crows that are idle for 10 seconds. It's really good. But without further ado, guys, that's going to be it with me. I'm done with this video, but I hope you guys will have a blast over in the fog. Again, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more future content, and hit the bell so you guys get notified when I post out a video. I mostly post my videos out daily during the week, but if you guys would like to see a certain build, or maybe you're interested in a certain tactic, maybe I didn't go over something in this, go ahead and put that in the comment section below. I love you guys. Have a great time in the fog. Be positive, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy, guys.